One of the easiest ways you can create memories for the future is to write down your thoughts and revisit them later. You can collect your ideas and observations on any number of things and put those happenings of each day into writing. Then you can always remember what you did, what you thought, and what was happening when you were younger. And the place where you collect all of those thoughts is called a journal. We have several journals in the collections at the East Hampton Historical Society, and this little one is my favorite from 1910. In it, we learn about the everyday activities of the author, from the weather to her travels to going to church and sleeping in and spending time with her family and friends. She speaks about going to the theater, traveling on the lake, and even babysitting too. So one of my favorite things to do when you get a historic journal is to take a look at today's date from that year and to see what was happening then. So this is from 1910, and on this date in 1910, she says, "The items from Montgomery came this morning. It took us a long time to put them away. I laid down after dinner, and in the eve we went for a ride with the Strouders." So therein lies a little mystery. What are the items that she's talking about? You can always flip back and try to find out, or start from the beginning and read the story of her entire year. So today, we're going to make our own journal. You're going to need a few items from home. You're going to need a piece of cardstock, some paper, paper clips, thread, needle, glue, a nail, and some heavy books. Go ahead and collect those items, meet me back here, and we'll go step by step and make our own journal together. Great, so welcome back. Have all of your supplies out in front of you, and let's go step by step and make our own journal. The first thing that you're going to do is take your piece of cardstock and hold it horizontally, and you're going to fold it in half. Fold it in half and make a very nice firm fold with that cardstock, and this is going to be the cover. So you're going to take that and just set it aside for the time being. Now you're going to then take your pieces of paper, and you can have as many pieces of paper as you want. I did just a few for our demonstration purposes. And you also want to make sure that your paper is thinner than the width of your cardstock. So you want to make sure that it fits in just there. And you're going to take your paper, hold it in the same direction, and fold it in the same direction. Like so. Then what you're going to do is going to open it up, and with your nail, you're going to poke holes down the center here, because what we're going to do is sew it up so that they stay together. So before you do that, you're going to take your paper clips and just put one on either side so that they stay together, so that when you poke the holes, they're not moving around and you have holes in different places. So I have my paper clips. I'm going to go ahead and poke holes down the center. When you do that, you want to make sure you stay on that folded line, and you want to make sure that you have an even number of holes, because when we sew, we're going to start and end in the back, and we want to make sure that the thread goes in and out the same number of times. So depending on your paper length, you can do either like 8 or 10 holes, but have them even numbered and try to get them equidistant. And I'll show you what mine looks like in just a second. So my paper fit about 8 holes, so you can see that right there. Just poked down the center of the spine. And then you're going to take your needle and thread and thread it up and knot the end of your thread. Now I used red thread so that you'd be able to see it on contrast on the white paper, but you can certainly go ahead and use white thread or beige thread or something that matches so that there isn't that contrast. But I used red today just for the demo. So when you hold your paper like this, you're going to want to start at the back. So where the fold comes out, start in the back and just poke it from the back to the front. Okay, and it's sturdy enough so that the knot stays in the back. And then what we're going to do is just go up and down up the spine. So that looks like this with one stitch. And you can go ahead and continue those stitches up and down the spine of your book. How's it coming out? That's what mine looks like so far. Keep going till you reach the end. Doesn't matter where you start and where you stop, direction-wise. So I've made it all the way up the length of my spine. And I'm going to knot it in the back. And as I said, this is why it's important to have the same number of stitches, because you want to make sure that with an even number, the knot would be on the same side, depending on which way you were doing it. So I've knotted it up. And you can have a scissor. I didn't bring one, so I just had to rip my knot off. And so here's the sewing up my spine. Now it's okay, I can take my paper clips off and I can fit this right on the inside of the spine of my cardstock. And what you're going to do is you're going to take glue and glue the back side of each of your pieces of paper, this side to this end of the cardstock, and this side of the paper to that end of the cardstock in the center, so that it stays, so that your paper is in the center of the cover. So I put my glue on a Q-tip just to make it a little bit easier for myself. I'm going to line up the crease in the page to the crease in the cardstock. Leave it in there so that my one side stays. So we have the one side, and then we're going to go ahead and glue the other side. And so I always just find it easier when I'm working with glue to put it on a plate and then put the glue from the plate onto a Q-tip, and then I'm able to just maneuver the glue with the Q-tip with a little bit more accuracy instead of just using it from the bottle. So I have my one side, open it up and see my stitching down the spine in the center, then the other side. From here, just take your spine and give it a good solid fold. And I told you to bring a pile of heavy books. I have my pile right here. So I'm just going to put them right on top of my journal for now, give it a chance to set. We'll come back and decorate it together. So once your journal has dried and set under the weight of the heavy books, you can take it out and you can decorate the cover with markers or crayons or any other decorative bits that you have with glue. I think it's really important to identify who the author is, who's writing in the journal, and also what year it is. So I always put my name on the front. So I'm going to call this one Marianne's Journal. And I'm going to put the year on it. It's 2021. So make sure the year is on it. And then some of the things that I just like to look at in my spare time are the sun and the moon and the stars. And so I thought it would be nice if I decorated the front of my journal with some of those things. So I'm going to give it a moon, sun, and some stars for the cover. I don't know. What do you think? Now, you can start writing in it right away. You can talk about what we did today in making our own journal. When you do write an entry, make sure you put the specific date and year in it so that you can always look back and remember what you were thinking, what you were doing, and what was happening in the world around you today. I hope you enjoyed this program. Make sure to tune into our website at easthamptonhistory.org for more of our upcoming events and programs, and I hope to see you soon.